Do you believe that a cheap $1.50 can of sardines could outperform a $50 bottle of fish oil supplements? Sounds unbelievable. But if you are over 60 and you care about keeping your heart strong, your bones sturdy, your memory sharp, and your blood sugar steady, then maybe what you need isn't another fancy supplement. It could be something old, familiar, overlooked, once dismissed and forgotten, a quiet little can sitting on the supermarket shelf. Canned sardines. This isn't just a story about nutrition. It's a story about bias, the small things that can quietly change your life after 60. If you've always thought sardines were too smelly, cheap, or unsuitable for someone your age, then let this story help you see things in a new light. Don't skip this video if you're looking for a simple, natural, and science-backed way to support healthy aging. Let me tell you about a couple who live next door to me, Harold and Clara. They've been married for nearly 40 years. Both are now in their 60s, and they've started paying closer attention to things like heart health, memory, and blood pressure, the things they used to overlook when they were younger. Harold is the type of man who likes to be in control. Every morning, he opens his kitchen cabinet, which is lined with over 20 kinds of supplements he orders online worldwide. Fish oil from Norway, CoQ10 from Germany, vitamin D from the US, even powdered seaweed from Japan. He believes aging is a battle, and he needs the best weapons. He spends over $500 monthly on these tiny capsules, swallowing them like they're bottled hope. Clara, his wife, is the opposite. She doesn't like noise, doesn't trust advertisements, doesn't believe in miracle cures floating around the internet. She believes in simple things: fresh greens, morning sunshine, and sardines. Yes, the humble 1.050 canned sardines. She never told Harold. She picked up a few cans each week. Sometimes she had them with salad or toast. Sometimes just right out of the can with a squeeze of lemon. She never pushed anyone to join her, and she never thought it would change anything significant. But the surprise came during a routine checkup. I was with them that day. Harold walked in with complete confidence. He thought his results would impress the doctor. Clara just smiled quietly. Then came the results, and Harold's face began to fall. His triglycerides were still high. LDL cholesterol had gone up. And even worse, early signs of arterial plaque showed up on his scans. The doctor frowned, suggested reducing high-protein foods and increasing omega-3 intake. Harold glanced at Clara as if to say, "See, I take fish oil every day." But then the doctor turned to Clara, eyes lit up. "Mrs. Clara, your cardiovascular health is excellent. Excellent cholesterol levels, low triglycerides, clear arteries. Do you follow a special diet?" Clara smiled gently. "Not really, doctor. I eat sardines a few times a week." Harold was stunned. At that moment, it was as if something had woken him up. The food he once mocked, smelly, poor people's food, cheap junk, turned out to be what had quietly protected his wife's health all along. The doctor nodded firmly. Sardines are one of the richest sources of bioavailable omega-3s, and they come with calcium, vitamin D, B12, and a host of natural antioxidants. That tiny can holds a whole army for your heart, bones, and brain. Fish oil, it's just one ingredient. From that day on, Harold never looked down on sardines again. He began learning how to work them into his meals. The first time he opened a can, he still winced at the smell. But he added lemon juice, some fresh dill, and whole grain toast the next time. Another time, he pan-fried them with eggs. And slowly, he began to realize what he had once avoided. It was exactly what his body had been needing. The change didn't happen overnight. But after a few months, his health numbers started to improve. Not miraculously, but enough for him to believe. Sometimes, the most minor things hold the most incredible power. I'm not telling you this to make sardines sound magical. I want you to understand this. If you're over 60 and you're doing your best to stay healthy, but you hesitate when something seems too simple, then it's time to pause. Take another look. Don't let bias make you overlook nature's quiet gifts. Maybe the smell once put you off. Maybe you've always thought canned food wasn't healthy. But sometimes, the humble things carry us through the most critical years of our lives. Not because they're cheap, but because they're right. I know many of us, after 60, are used to thinking, if I'm sick, take medicine. If I want to stay healthy, I buy expensive supplements. But no one told us this. As we age, our bodies don't just need nutrients. We need the most natural ways to absorb them. Sardines don't just contain omega-3s, they contain DHA and EPA. They have soft, edible bones full of calcium. They offer vitamin D to help absorb that calcium. Vitamin B12 is also used to protect memory and the nervous system. Combined, these aren't just nutrients for living longer. They help us live better. I've seen too many older folks depend on a box of pills, only to be disappointed when the numbers don't change. But I've also seen people like Clara, who don't chase trends, listen to their body walk a different path. A path that's not flashy, but steady. After hearing this story, I hope you'll look at sardines with fresh eyes and give them another try. Just once a week. Just one little can. And you might discover the thing you've been avoiding. You need it most on your journey of healthy aging after 60. Have you ever avoided sardines before? Leave a comment, yes or no so. I know you're still here with me. If you find this video helpful, please share it with someone, especially those who still doubt the power of real food. Because sometimes, instead of searching for answers in a pill bottle, maybe it's time we start again with a spoon, a plate, and a gift from nature. Chapter 1. The 3 biggest myths about sardines. I've seen it time and again. When older adults hear the words canned sardines, many instinctively grimace, shake their heads, and say the same familiar line. That stuff is just smelly, cheap, and probably not good for you. But that reaction doesn't come from bad intentions. It comes from memory. When they opened a can, they rushed to close it again because the smell was too strong. From meals in hard times, when sardines were the last resort, the only thing left on the shelf. And from a belief we've carried for years, that canned food is unhealthy, low quality, and best avoided. But if you're over 60, if you care about your heart, bones, memory, and blood pressure, then it's time to face the truth. Much of what we think we know about sardines is wrong. Let's start with the first and most common myth. Sardines smell bad. Yes, sardines do have a strong, distinct smell. They're not like gently seared salmon or delicate sushi-grade tuna. The aroma of sardines is bold, earthy, and impossible to hide. But have you ever asked yourself, why do they smell like that? The truth is that a strong smell isn't a sign of poor quality. It's a sign of richness, specifically in omega-3s, one of the most essential nutrients for people over 60. These healthy fats don't just support memory and reduce inflammation. They help keep your blood vessels flexible, improving circulation and lowering your risk of heart attacks and strokes. To some, the smell is unpleasant, but to a nutritionist, it signals that the fish hasn't been chemically bleached, stripped of its oils, or overprocessed. It's a sign of wholeness, just like a fine-aged cheese or a freshly roasted coffee. Not everyone loves the smell, but those who understand it respect it. If the smell bothers you, try adding lemon slices, fresh herbs, or giving the fish a quick rinse. But don't be too quick to dismiss a food just because it smells real. Sometimes what we avoid because of smell is precisely what our body craves. Next is a myth that's been shaped by years of media influence. Canned food is unhealthy. Whenever we hear canned food, we think of preservatives, long shelf lives, and nutrient loss. That may be true for heavily processed items, but it's not true for sardines. Sardines don't need preservatives. They're packed and cooked inside the can using high-pressure heat, killing bacteria and removing nutrients without additives. There's no long processing chain, no chemical soaking, just simple, whole fish sealed for safety. And even more remarkable, during the canning process, the sardines' small bones become soft and edible, which makes them an incredible natural source of calcium. This kind of calcium is more absorbable than in most pills or milk. Older adults often take calcium supplements, but forget that after 60, the body doesn't absorb tablets as it used to. With sardines, calcium comes wrapped in healthy fats, vitamin D, phosphorus, and zinc. A natural package that helps your body absorb and use it efficiently. And thanks to the vitamin D in the fish, that calcium doesn't go to waste. It gets sent where it's needed most: your bones, your joints, and your teeth. So don't let the word canned fool you. Sardines are one of the very few canned foods that still retain their original health benefits. And in many cases, they are easier to digest than fresh fish. No marinating, no thawing, no fancy cooking required. Just pop the lid, add a few fresh ingredients, and in minutes, you have a complete meal. Protein, healthy fat, essential minerals, all right there. And finally, the myth that saddens me the most. Sardines are too cheap. They must be low quality. This belief has caused many people to overlook one of the most nutritious foods on the planet. Yes, sardines are affordable, but low price does not mean low value. Sardines are inexpensive because they reproduce quickly, are easy to catch, swim in large schools, and don't require farming or artificial feed. They eat plankton, not other fish. This means they carry far fewer heavy metals like mercury than bigger fish like tuna or swordfish. That makes sardines cleaner and safer, especially for older adults whose liver and kidneys may not be as strong as they once were. Think about it. For less than $2, a can of sardines gives you omega-3s, protein, calcium, vitamin D, selenium, and B12. Everything you need without needing a single supplement. Compare that to a $50 bottle of fish oil that only gives you one kind of fat. Can we call that cheap food? Or should we recognize it for what it is, a gift from nature that we've ignored because of packaging and prejudice? I've met elders in their 90s who've never touched a supplement. When asked their secret, they often mention small ocean fish sardines, anchovies, herring. The kind you eat whole. Bones, flesh, oils, and all. It may not be a modern diet, but it is a sustainable one. So if you're looking for something simple, practical, and budget-friendly, look no further than sardines. Don't let the low price make you doubt. Don't let the smell turn you away. And don't let a medal can stop you from discovering a food that's helped millions of older adults live longer, stronger, and better. I'm not saying sardines are a miracle cure, but I do believe if you take a moment to rethink your beliefs about this humble little fish and give it another chance, you just might be surprised. The food you've been avoiding could be what your body needs most for a healthy, free, and fulfilling life after 60. And that, my friend, is the most powerful kind of change. Chapter 2. Heart Health. I used to believe that fish oil was the best thing I could do for my heart. Like many people over 60, I followed the advice. Take a fish oil capsule daily to lower cholesterol, prevent strokes, and protect your heart. And so I did. Every morning I swallowed a tiny, tasteless pill, like a quiet charm for my arteries. But after a while, something felt off. My triglyceride levels were still high. I still felt fatigue, and that dull tightness in my chest after long walks never disappeared. And strangely, my doctor wasn't praising my progress. Instead, he asked a simple question. Have you ever tried sardines? Sardines, I froze. A cheap can of fish flashed through my mind, smelly, oily, unrefined. How could that compare to my imported $50 bottle of fish oil, sealed in a sleek container and advertised on every health website? But that question stuck with me. And when I started digging into it, everything began to change. Let's be clear, fish oil isn't bad. It contains omega-3s, specifically DHA and EPA essential fats that help reduce inflammation, soften arteries, improve heart rhythm, and lower stroke risk. But here's the issue. That's all it offers. It's a single isolated ingredient, removed from real food, packed into a pill, and sent into your body like a lone soldier. Sardines, on the other hand, are an army. Whole fish, whole oils, whole bones, a complete nutritional package. In one small can of sardines, you're not just getting DHA and EPA in their natural form. You're also getting CoQ10, a powerful compound that acts like oil for the engine of your heart. Think of your heart as a motor running 24/7, over 100,000 beats daily. It needs constant energy. CoQ10 helps the heart produce that energy inside its cells. And unlike fish oil capsules, which often don't contain CoQ10, sardines give it to you naturally, in a form that's easy to absorb. I came across a study conducted in Japan, a country known for its high longevity among older adults. They tracked people who ate small, oily fish, like sardines, at least 2 to 3 times a week, and compared them to those who took fish oil supplements. The results: the sardine group had up to 30% lower rates of strokes and heart attacks. And it wasn't just because of omega-3s. The combination of clean protein, trace minerals, CoQ10, and the low levels of heavy metals made sardines a safer, more complete heart health option. Another key advantage sardines have over fish oil is bioavailability. When you eat sardines, you're consuming omega-3s in their natural food form, surrounded by built-in absorption helpers like vitamin D, monounsaturated fats, especially if packed in olive oil, and natural antioxidants. Fish oil capsules, while purified, lack that whole environment, which can make absorption harder, especially for older adults with slower digestion. A single can of sardines contains about 250-300 millimoles of DHA and EPA, equal to or even more than a typical fish oil capsule. But it doesn't stop there. You're also getting vitamin B12, which helps regulate heart rhythm, and selenium, which protects your arteries from oxidative damage. These elements are not found in standard capsules. Or if they are, you'd need to take separate supplements to match what sardines give you in one serving. I still remember the day I tried sardines again, after decades of avoiding them. That same old smell was there. But this time I saw it differently. I knew that in every spoonful, there were nutrients quietly at work, lowering my blood fats, cleaning my arteries, fighting inflammation. After just a few weeks of eating sardines regularly, only 2 to 3 times a week, I went back for a blood test. For the first time in years, my triglyceride levels dropped significantly. That tightness in my chest, it started fading. And most surprising of all, I no longer needed to buy expensive CoQ10 pills, because my body was now getting it naturally from sardines. I know changing a habit is hard, especially going from taking a neat, odorless pill to eating a food with a smell and a reputation. But look at the bigger picture. You're not just feeding your body. You're giving your heart to real warriors. A capsule offers a sliver of support. A can of sardines. A complete defense system. And the best part, you don't need to overcomplicate things. Eat them with salad. Make a sandwich. Pan fry them with eggs. Please keep it simple. What matters most is this: You're changing how you think. Real food doesn't have to be expensive. It doesn't have to look fancy. It just needs to be effective, practical, and complete. That's what sardines are. So if you're looking for a way to support heart health after 60, without draining your wallet, you may have just found your answer. Don't let the metal can fool you. Inside, it is a team of quiet heroes working daily to protect your heart. Chapter 3. Bone and Joint Support. For a long time, I believed that the key to keeping my bones strong after 60 was simple. Drink more milk and take a calcium pill every day. That's what the ads said. That's what I heard from friends, from family. And it's printed in bold letters on every milk carton. Build strong bones, prevent osteoporosis. So I followed it. Every morning, a glass of milk. Every night, a calcium supplement. Routine, consistent. But then one day, during a routine checkup, my doctor looked at my scan and said, "Your bone density is still declining. Not dangerous yet, but noticeably so." I was shocked. Was everything I'd been doing not enough? I started digging deeper, and I discovered something most people never talk about. After age 60, our bodies no longer absorb calcium as efficiently as they used to. No matter how premium the label sounds, those calcium tablets require many supporting factors to be truly absorbed into your bones. Without vitamin D, without magnesium, or if your gut isn't absorbing well, that calcium will likely pass right through you. Or worse, settle where it doesn't belong, like in the kidneys or artery walls. That's when someone introduced me to sardines. And the first thing that surprised me, the bones in canned sardines are soft, edible, and packed with bioavailable calcium. Not synthetic, not chemically manufactured, but real, natural calcium delivered alongside healthy fats. Vitamin D, phosphorus, and protein is what your body needs to use correctly. And when I found out that a single can of sardines could contain as much or more calcium than a glass of milk, I knew I had to rethink everything. Picture a 65-year-old woman, someone like Clara, whom I mentioned earlier. She doesn't drink milk. She doesn't take calcium pills. Yet her bone density is strong, and she doesn't suffer joint pain when the weather shifts. When the doctor asked for her secret, she smiled. "I eat sardines 3 times a week." It sounds almost too simple, but science backs her up. The calcium in sardines comes directly from the fish's bones. Cooked soft during the canning process using high pressure, making them easy to chew and digest. When you eat sardines, you're not just eating the fish meat. You're eating the whole structure, bones and all. That's what makes the difference. On the other hand, milk can cause discomfort, especially for those with lactose intolerance, which is common in older adults. Sardines don't cause bloating. They don't leave a heavy feeling. And the natural fats in sardines help your body absorb the calcium more efficiently through your intestines. But here's the most important part. Sardines don't just offer calcium. They also give you vitamin D, something most seniors are lacking. And this isn't synthetic vitamin D from a capsule. It's natural, built into the fish's flesh and oils, and even more effective when eaten with the fat in the food. Vitamin D doesn't just help absorb calcium. It acts as a guide, delivering that calcium to the right places, your bones and teeth. Without it, most of the calcium you consume is lost in your urine, like pouring water into a bucket full of holes. I used to think that drinking milk was enough, but now I understand. Calcium is the brick. Vitamin D is the builder. Without the builder, the bricks sit there. And sardines, they give you both. Multiple studies show that people who eat small fish like sardines regularly have a 22 to 30% lower risk of osteoporosis compared to those who don't or rely on calcium supplements. That's because sardines provide a complete foundation for bone health. calcium, vitamin D, protein, and supporting minerals like phosphorus, magnesium, and zinc. On top of that, the omega-3s in sardines also help reduce joint inflammation. Easing knee, spine, and joint pain is a common complaint among older adults. Many people over 60 suffer from joint pain, especially when the weather changes. They go to the doctor and get prescriptions for painkillers or expensive pills like glucosamine or shark cartilage. But what few realize is that a diet rich in sardines can provide nutrients, reduce inflammation, and save money at the same time. A $1.50 can of sardines could replace a $30 joint support supplement. If eaten regularly and at the right time, sardines have even been shown to help improve bone density in postmenopausal women, a group particularly vulnerable to calcium loss. Instead of relying solely on hormone therapy, many have found balance through a simple diet that includes sardines, keeping their bones strong, resilient, and less prone to fractures. I once met a 75-year-old woman who climbed stairs without using the handrail. When I asked her if she ever got tired of eating sardines every week, she smiled and said, "Tired? As long as my back doesn't ache, I'll keep eating them." Sometimes simplicity is the correct answer. If you're wondering what to eat to protect your bones and joints, don't just think of milk or pills. Think about sardines, that humble little food, overlooked, underrated, but carrying a whole support system for your body's mobility. Try it for 1 week, then 2. You may be surprised at how your body feels lighter, more flexible, and less stiff when you move. After 60, we don't need to take more things. We need to eat right and regularly and understand what works. Sardines aren't a miracle, but they are a gift for a body that deserves to be cared for from the inside out. Starting with the bones that hold us up every single day. Chapter 4. Blood sugar stability. I used to think that blood sugar problems were something other people dealt with. I didn't eat much sugar. I wasn't addicted to sweets, and I thought my diet was reasonable enough. But then, during a routine checkup at age 64, my doctor looked at me seriously and said, "Your blood sugar is in the pre-diabetic range. If you don't make changes now, in a year or 2, you'll likely be managing it with insulin." I was stunned. I didn't feel tired. I wasn't overly thirsty. I didn't wake up at night to use the bathroom. None of the classic signs I thought were obvious for diabetes. And yet, inside my body, something had already begun to slip out of balance quietly. That moment was a wake-up call. It set me on a journey to change how I eat. And strangely enough, one of the biggest surprises came from sardines. High blood sugar doesn't just come from eating sugar. It often comes from a regulatory system that's wearing down over time. And at the center of that system is insulin. Think of insulin like a key. Its job is to unlock cells, allowing blood sugar, glucose, to enter and be used as energy. As we age, our cells slowly become uncooperative toward insulin. The body still makes insulin, sometimes even more than before, but the cells don't respond. They don't open the door. This is called insulin resistance, and it's one of the fastest ways to develop type 2 diabetes. It's already happening silently in millions of people over 60. The sad part, most of us never see it coming because it doesn't hurt. It doesn't scream for attention. It only shows up in blood test results, just like mine did. A number on a piece of paper that changed everything. After that appointment, I started changing how I ate. I cut back on sugar, ate more vegetables, swapped white rice for brown. But the recommendation that surprised me the most came from my doctor. Sardines. I laughed. Canned fish. Really? I said. But he just smiled and replied, "Just give them a try. They'll do more for your body than many of the pills you're thinking about." So I did. I started eating sardines twice weekly, usually for lunch or dinner, with brown rice, whole grain bread, or salad. And slowly I began to feel a difference. Not like flipping a switch, but a kind of steady balance. I no longer felt foggy or drained after meals. That mid-afternoon crash started fading, and my blood sugar numbers, they quietly shifted back into the safe zone. So what is it about sardines that makes them so powerful? First, sardines have a very low glycemic index. That means they don't spike your blood sugar. When eaten alongside carbs like rice or bread, they slow down the digestion and absorption of sugars. Usually, if you eat just carbs, your blood sugar rises quickly after the meal, triggering a sharp insulin release. That spike stresses your pancreas and increases the risk of insulin resistance. But when you add sardines rich in protein and healthy fats, the rise in blood sugar is slower, smoother, and easier for your body to manage. That takes pressure off the pancreas and helps prevent the breakdown that leads to diabetes. Second, and even more important, sardines don't just slow things down, they help your cells respond better to insulin. This is thanks to two key nutrients found in every can: omega-3 and vitamin D. Omega-3 is a potent anti-inflammatory, and chronic inflammation is one of the main reasons cells become insulin resistant. When the outer walls of your cells are inflamed, insulin can't communicate with them. It's like knocking on a door that's been jammed shut. Omega-3 works like a repairman, healing the cell membrane and helping it hear insulin again. And when that happens, sugar moves into your cells more efficiently, instead of building up in your bloodstream. Vitamin D in sardines isn't just a bonus. It plays a key role in helping insulin work. A European study followed people with pre-diabetes for 6 months. One group ate normally. The other added sardines to their meals twice a week. The results: the sardine group had better insulin sensitivity, lower post-meal blood sugar, and a significantly lower risk of diabetes. Why? Because vitamin D activates insulin receptors, the locks on your cells. You don't just need a key, insulin. You need a lock that turns easily. And vitamin D is the oil that keeps that lock working. Now you might be thinking, then I'll just take omega-3 and vitamin D supplements. But the truth is, nutrients from real food always work better than pills. When you eat sardines, you're not just getting isolated nutrients. You're getting a biological team: omega-3, vitamin D, protein, calcium, selenium, B12, all working together in a form that your body knows how to absorb and use. That's something supplements can't replicate. I'm not saying sardines are a cure for diabetes, but like my doctor once told me, sardines might be the food that keeps you from needing medication. If you start early, if you stay consistent, and if you believe in the power of simplicity, after 60, every meal is more than just fuel. It's your path to staying healthy, independent, and yourself. If your blood sugar has ever crept up, if you've ever been told you're pre-diabetic, if you fear the day you might need insulin, give sardines a chance. You don't need to change everything. You don't need to eat them every day. Just start with 1 can a week, then 2, then 3. And one day you'll look back and realize you've quietly stepped far away from that fragile line between health and illness. So if someone ever asks you, "Are sardines good for older adults?" you can smile and say, "They're more than good. They change the way I manage my blood sugar and help me stay fully, completely me." Chapter 5: Enhancing Memory and Preventing Cognitive Decline. I used to think forgetfulness was just part of getting older. I would laugh it off when I walked into the kitchen and forgot what I came for, or when I misplaced my phone, turned the house upside down, and looked for it, or when I'd start a sentence, then suddenly blank on the name, right on the tip of my tongue. Just aging memory, I told myself. But one day, I couldn't remember the name of my granddaughter, the one who calls me Grandpa every Saturday afternoon. And in that moment, it stopped being funny. It wasn't very comforting. That was when I knew I couldn't just let my memory slip away with time. I started asking my doctor. I read books, listened to podcasts, and watched countless videos. I wanted to know, how can I keep my mind sharp into my 60s and 70s? Among all the advice, one thing kept coming up again and again. Eat foods rich in DHA, vitamin B12, and vitamin D. And to my surprise, one of the richest sources of all three was tucked inside a simple can of sardines I had ignored for years. You've probably heard that the brain is about 60% fat, but not all fats are equal. There's one that's exceptionally vital, called DHA, docosahexaenoic acid, a type of omega-3 that helps build nerve cell membranes, keeping them flexible and able to send signals between neurons. When you're low on DHA, your brain becomes like a flickering power grid. Signals slow down, get interrupted, and eventually, they stop getting through at all. DHA is found in ocean fish, especially small fish like sardines. Each can of sardines contains a high amount of DHA in its natural form, which your body can absorb easily and use right away. Unlike many omega-3 pills, sardines offer this nutrient alongside clean protein, natural fats, and vitamin D, which help absorption. But DHA is just one point on the triangle. The second is vitamin B12, a key player in protecting the myelin sheath, which wraps around your nerves like insulation around a wire. That myelin is what keeps your brain's messages moving smoothly, from thoughts to words, from memory to motion. Without enough B12, that insulation wears thin. Signals become slow, confused, or lost. Thinking slows down. Reflexes weaken. And memory becomes fragile, like a frayed cord. Older adults, especially after 60, often struggle to absorb B12 efficiently. And pills don't always help. But natural B12 from foods like sardines is more bioavailable. Because it comes packaged with enzymes, amino acids, and the complete nutritional context your body needs. When I started adding sardines to my breakfast, just 2 or 3 times a week, I began noticing small changes. I remembered what I was doing more clearly. I could read a book without skipping lines. I could converse with my grandchild without stopping mid-sentence to find the next word. It's not something you measure with charts, but you feel it in the little moments of everyday life. And then comes the third piece, vitamin D. We often think of vitamin D as the bone vitamin, but it also plays a critical role in brain health, especially in clearing out amyloid plaques, one of the leading causes of Alzheimer's disease. Vitamin D doesn't just support your skeleton, it helps keep your brain clean and functioning. When vitamin D levels are steady, areas of the brain like the hippocampus, the memory center, perform more effectively. Sardines are one of the few foods that naturally contain high levels of vitamin D. No sun exposure needed, no pills required. When these 3 nutrients, DHA, B12, and vitamin D, come together in one food, you get what I call the memory triangle for aging brains. Each nutrient plays a different role. DHA builds brain structure. B12 keeps signals flowing. Vitamin D maintains the brain's internal environment. But together, they form a robust system of protection. And the amazing part, you'll find all of it in one small, simple can of sardines. Affordable, accessible, available at any grocery store. I used to think that staying mentally sharp meant taking brain pills, doing Sudoku, or learning a new language. And those things are great. But maybe, before we dive into all those brain workouts, we should start with the basics. Give the brain the fuel it needs to function. And sardines are one of the most straightforward, effective, and affordable ways to do that. I'm not against healthy habits, but if you've done all the right things and still feel your memory fading, your mind slowing down, then maybe it's time to take a look at your diet. Because what your brain might be missing isn't caffeine. It isn't ginseng candy. It's the right fats, the right vitamins, and the right kind of protein. After 60, we don't have time to trial and error anymore. What we feed our bodies each day is our commitment to the future of our memory. And if there's one food worthy of that responsibility, I believe sardines deserve the chance. Don't wait until you forget the name of someone you love, or look around a familiar room and feel lost in it. Start now. Start with the smallest step. Open a can of sardines and nourish your neurons kindly, consistently, from the inside out. Because memory isn't something we get to keep unless we take care of it every single day. And strangely enough, sardines are one of the simplest, most powerful ways to do that. Chapter 6. How to choose and eat sardines the right way. I used to think eating sardines was as simple as opening the can and eating. But over time, I learned that if you want to get the full health benefits and avoid the small risks that can affect people over 60, you must know how to choose the right sardines and eat them correctly. Because, like any good gift, if wrapped the wrong way, it may not feel like something special. Sardines are the same. They may look similar on the shelf, but the liquid they're packed in and how you prepare them can make the difference between a truly nourishing meal and one that gets ignored or tossed aside. The first thing you need to know at the grocery store is this: not all sardines are the same. Even if every can says sardines on the label, the real difference is often in the fine print underneath. It tells you what liquid the fish is packed in. There are 3 common types: sardines in olive oil, sardines in spring water, sardines in brine or tomato sauce. If you're focused on heart health, blood pressure, or kidney and liver support, the clear recommendation is choose sardines in olive oil or spring water. These 2 keep the flavor natural, are lower in sodium, contain no hidden sugars, and usually have no unnecessary additives. Olive oil is a heart-healthy monounsaturated fat proven to lower bad cholesterol, raise good cholesterol, and help the body absorb fat-soluble vitamins like D and K, which are already found in the fish. Sardines in spring water are lighter in fat, but great for those watching their calories or sodium, or for anyone who prefers fish's pure, clean taste. This is the type that Clara, the wife from my earlier story, always chose. She'd open a can, add a few drops of lemon juice, and some chopped dill, and that was her light but nutrient-rich lunch. On the other hand, sardines in brine, salt water, or tomato sauce often contain higher sodium, refined sugars, and acidifiers, which can cause water retention, raise blood pressure, or trigger digestive discomfort in older adults. If you have a history of heart disease, high blood pressure, or take diuretics, it's best to avoid these types. Once you've chosen the right kind of sardines, the next question is, how do you make them tasty and not tiring to eat? Here are 3 simple ways to prepare sardines that are easy, quick, and perfect for anyone over 60. No complicated cooking skills needed. No long prep time. Method 1. Toss into a salad. This is a light, fresh, and digestion-friendly way to enjoy sardines while keeping all their nutrients. Open the can, drain the oil or water, and gently break the fish into bite-sized pieces with a fork. Prepare a plate of fresh greens lettuce, cucumber, cherry tomatoes, or shredded cabbage. Add the sardines on top, squeeze fresh lemon juice, sprinkle a bit of black pepper, and drizzle a spoonful of extra virgin olive oil. Optional add-ins: a boiled egg, or a few avocado slices for healthy fats. This was Clara's favorite meal, especially during the summer. She once told me, "Every time I eat a sardine salad, my mind feels clearer and my stomach feels light." Method 2. Blend into a spread or dip. If you're not used to the look of whole fish, or you find the flavor a bit strong, turn sardines into a creamy spread. It's easy. Mash the sardines with a spoon or use a small blender. Mix in a spoonful of Greek yogurt or low-fat mayo, a squeeze of lemon juice, a little mustard, and some chopped herbs like dill or green onion. Blend until smooth. Spread it on whole grain toast. Dip raw carrots or cucumber in it, or roll it into lettuce wraps or rice paper. This is my go-to snack when I have guests. No one ever guesses it's from canned sardines, and when I tell them, they're always surprised. Method 3. Lightly pan fry with eggs. This one's perfect for breakfast or a light dinner. Drain the sardines and mash them gently with a fork. Crack 2 eggs into a bowl, mix with the sardines, add some chopped green onions, black pepper, and a pinch of salt. Heat olive oil in a pan, pour the mixture in, and cook until golden on both sides. You can enjoy it with brown rice, toast, or salad. It's easy to eat, not too fishy, and full of nutrients. This is the most approachable way for many older adults to start with sardines. One more thing to keep in mind. Always read the label before buying. Choose sardines with simple ingredients: fish, olive oil, water, and salt. No sugars, no artificial sweeteners, no preservatives, no colorings. Pick sardines from clean ocean regions like Portugal, Spain, or Northern Europe if possible. These areas often follow stricter standards for fishing and packaging, reducing the risk of heavy metal contamination. And lastly, don't forget the most important part. Be patient and stay flexible. If you don't like the taste, try a different preparation. If you're not used to eating them whole, try spreading them on a sandwich. If the smell is strong, balance it with lemon, apple cider vinegar, or fresh herbs. Sardines don't ask you to change your taste completely. They ask you to stay open-minded about a food that's long been underestimated. And once you start feeling the difference after a few weeks, sharper memory, less joint pain, better blood pressure, you'll know you're on the right path. After 60, food isn't just about staying full. It's about staying healthy, staying purposeful, staying clear enough to enjoy the moments you still have. And sometimes that journey begins with something small. A can of sardines chosen wisely and eaten mindfully. A small change for a significant result. Isn't that worth trying? The 150 superfood that redefines healthy aging. Throughout your life, you've heard countless pieces of health advice. Eat this, avoid that. Take this pill, stay away from that one. At some point, taking care of your body stopped feeling simple and turned into an exhausting race through information, ads, and anxiety. But today, after everything we've explored together, I want you to pause and take one quiet look at a small, humble food that's been overlooked, yet quietly holds the power to change the way you age. Canned sardines. Let's be clear, this is not poor man's food. That's a myth. And sadly, it's a myth that's caused millions to miss out on a simple, daily opportunity to feel stronger and live better. Sardines are the food of the wise, of those who understand that good health doesn't come from price tags. It doesn't come from packaging or celebrity endorsements. It comes from making the right choices, from what's natural, accessible, and real. A single $1.50 can of sardines holds an entire ecosystem of nourishment. Omega-3s, DHA, and EPA, CoQ10, bioavailable calcium from soft bones, natural vitamin D, vitamin B12, selenium, high-quality protein, A fish oil pill. It gives you one of those. A multivitamin. It may offer synthetic versions, which are harder for your body to absorb. But in sardines, everything comes as nature intended. Easy to digest, easy to absorb, easy to use. We've walked through the details together. From the story of Harold and Clara, whose health outcomes changed drastically based on whether or not they ate sardines. We talked about the heart, where sardines act like a team of guards protecting every beat. The bones, where they deliver both calcium and vitamin D, building strength and flexibility. Blood sugar, where they help flatten glucose spikes and reduce insulin resistance. The brain, DHA, B12, and vitamin D combine to protect memory and clarity. And finally, how can you choose the right sardine can and eat it the right way so it's healthy, satisfying, and easy to enjoy? These aren't theories. They're facts, backed by science, proven through real-life experience, and confirmed by your own body if you're willing to give it a chance. So if there's one message I hope you take away from this video, it's this. Sardines are not poor food. They are nature's multivitamins from the sea. But they're not for the hurried or the ones who judge by appearances. They're for people who are patient enough, wise enough, and kind enough to themselves to pay attention to the small things that matter. You don't need to throw away your supplements, but try opening just one can of sardines. Please don't eat it because someone told you to. Eat it because your body deserves real nourishment. The kind that works. The kind our grandparents quietly passed down in the simplest of home-cooked meals. Take a look at your kitchen. Do you have a can of sardines there? If not, you can buy one this afternoon. No need to stretch your budget. No need to order online. Just walk to the shelf, pick a can packed in olive oil or spring water, and bring it home. And when you open that little can, remember, you're not just eating fish. You're choosing a new way to live. A way of eating that's kind to your body. A quiet declaration that says, I want to live well. I want to stay present. I want to age with purpose, whether you're 60, 70, or beyond. You can start today. I've seen people grow old with regret, wishing they had started sooner. But I've also seen the spark in the eyes of those who began their change with something as small as a can of fish. From there, a ripple of transformation was created. Don't wait until you need medication to begin taking care of yourself. Let sardines be your starting point. Small but powerful. And if you've made it this far, I want to ask you honestly, will you try a can of sardines this week? If your answer is yes, leave a comment to let me know you're ready to advance toward better health. Share this video with your parents, your loved ones, or your friends, especially those who may need a gentle but powerful reminder that sometimes the answer isn't in a bottle. It's in the can you've walked past for years. And if you found this video helpful, don't forget to hit subscribe to stay with us at Graceful Aging Co. There are many more untold secrets of aging well, and we'll be here to guide you through every story, every meal, every small change you can make to live a life you're proud of. Thank you for listening. Thank you for staying with us until the very end. And thank you for choosing to live consciously and with care. A can of sardines may not change the world, but it can change a life. Maybe yours or someone you love. And maybe that's reason enough to begin today.